Okay, so let's be honest here. We've all been there, right? You're deep into a workout, maybe halfway up a hike or having a really stressful day, and then whoosh, you catch that whiff, and it's you. Even though you put on that, that promising new natural deodorant, you just kind of wonder, did I make a huge mistake? It's it's a pretty universal, maybe a bit embarrassing sometimes. And honestly, it used to confuse me quite a bit. So today on the deep dive, we're tackling that exact moment, like head on. Our mission is pretty clear. We want to unpack the science behind why we actually stink, what's going on there, and demystify what natural even means for deodorant. And, really importantly, look at what people actually experience using different natural brands. The goal is to help you sort through all the options and figure out if any of these natural deodorants might actually work for your life.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're drawing on some really fascinating sources. We've got one article that reviewed a whole bunch of natural deodorants, like real-world testing, and another that digs into the dermatology side, why sweat gets that particular smell. So we'll pull out the key stuff, the most important bits, to get you up to speed on this sometimes frustrating topic fast.
Okay, let's dive right in then. And here's something that, well, kind of blew my mind when I first read it. Sweat itself, it's generally odorless. Is that right? I
Yeah.
always thought it was the problem.
You're exactly right to pick up on that. It's surprising for a lot of people. The science behind body odor dermatologists call it bromhidrosis. It isn't really about the liquid itself. It's the mix. It's the sweat combined with the normal bacteria living on your skin. The odor happens when those bacteria break down parts of the sweat. It's like a tiny natural process right there on your skin.
Wow. Okay, so it's not the sweat, it's the skin bacteria having a bit of a field day with it. Yeah, that paints a picture. And speaking of sweat, I sort of always assumed sweat was just sweat. But it sounds like not all sweat is the same or comes from the same place. And knowing the difference could actually matter for, like, managing the smell.
That's spot on. Yeah, there are basically three main types. Different glands, different triggers. First, you've got thermoregulatory sweat. Archery sweat, that's the most common. It kicks in when your body heats up, exercise, hot weather, that sort of thing. Archery glands are all over, and they release sweat right onto your skin. It's mostly watery, mostly odorless. Think wet patches on gym gear. It's mainly water, salt, electrolytes, just cooling you down. Then there's psychological sweat, apocrine sweat. This one's triggered by strong emotions. Things like fear, anxiety, stress, even excitement or pain. We actually start making it as babies, but it doesn't usually get stinky until after puberty because of hormones. It mostly happens in specific spots: groin, palms, soles, face, and yeah, the armpits. It's a bit silkier. Comes from apocrine glands that open into hair follicles, and because it has more proteins and fats, it's, well, better food for those bacteria. So this type usually means stronger odor.
Huh. So the real stink bomb, maybe, isn't from the gym workout itself, but from being anxious before a big meeting. That's actually a really big insight.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most of us grab deodorant thinking about exercise sweat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the bigger battle is against that stress sweat.
Precisely. It kind of shifts your focus, doesn't it? And then quickly, there's gustatory sweat. That's the sweat you get sometimes from eating really spicy or hot food. Bite into a hot pepper, your forehead gets damp. That's it. It's usually brief, just your body reacting to the heat spike.
Got it. Workout sweat, stress sweat, and too much chili sweat. Yeah. Okay, clearer picture now. But beyond the type of sweat, does it matter who you are? Like, do some people just sweat more or smell more, generally speaking?
Yeah, there are some general patterns, though individual differences are huge. Men usually have more eccrine glands, so they often produce a larger volume of sweat. And higher testosterone levels can increase activity in those apocrine glands, the smellier ones. Plus, more body hair can mean more surface area for bacteria to, well, set up shop. But again, these are just general trends. Super important to remember everyone's different. Genetics, diet, lifestyle, it all plays a part.
Right, that makes sense, especially the surface area thing. And I've definitely heard about diet, too. Like, eating lots of garlic or onions can actually come out in your body odor, not just your breath.
Oh, absolutely. What you eat can definitely influence the chemical compounds in your sweat, which then affects what the bacteria produce.
Okay, so we know why we stink now. Let's get to the main event. Natural versus conventional deodorants. We hear natural thrown around so much. What actually makes a deodorant natural? Is it just marketing, or is there a real difference in how they work?
It's a great question, and it's a bit nuanced. Fundamentally, natural deodorants use natural ingredients, chemicals derived from nature, to try and neutralize those odor-causing bacteria in your sweat. But the key thing, as you hinted, is they don't stop you from sweating. They let your body do its natural cooling thing. That's the big difference compared to conventional antiperspirants. Antiperspirants use ingredients like aluminum salts to physically plug the sweat ducts, and then they often add fragrance, too.
Ah, the aluminum. That's still such a big topic for people, isn't it? I
Yeah.
remember way back, maybe the 80s, hearing concerns linking aluminum and parabens, too, in antiperspirants to things like breast cancer or Alzheimer's. You mentioned the science doesn't really back that up now.
Right. It's a classic example of how early worries can stick around even after more research comes out. But yeah, the current scientific consensus from bodies like the FDA, the NIH, the National Cancer Institute, American Cancer Society is that there's no conclusive link found between using antiperspirants with aluminum or parabens and developing those conditions. The evidence just isn't there right now. That being said, people might choose natural for other reasons. Maybe they find synthetics irritating or just prefer a gentler approach overall. Those are perfectly valid reasons too. And that actually leads to another really crucial point. The term natural itself. It isn't regulated by the FDA for deodorants.
Oh, really? So anyone can just slap natural on the label?
Pretty much. There's no official standard, so it really means you have to be a savvy consumer. Read the ingredients list. Look out for anything you might be sensitive to because natural doesn't automatically mean irritation-free for everyone.
That's vital info. Good to know. And you mentioned the difference between deodorant and antiperspirant blocking sweat versus just dealing with odor. That seems especially important if you're active, right? You probably want to sweat when you exercise.
Exactly. Yeah, dermatologists generally recommend using just a deodorant, not an antiperspirant, during workouts. Sweating is how your body cools down. It's essential. Blocking those sweat glands with antiperspirant can actually lead to clogged pores, maybe breakouts, irritation. So letting your body sweat but managing the odor with a natural deodorant might actually be the smarter play for the gym. So if you're looking for a natural deodorant that's likely to be effective against odor, what should you look for on that label? Well, our sources suggest looking for ingredients with antibacterial properties. Things like triclosan or triclocarbon can help. A nice fragrance obviously helps mask any odor, and an alcohol base can help things feel a bit drier. And kind of a bonus, deodorants that fight microbes might also help reduce things like acne or folliculitis under your arms. So potential skin benefits too. But on the flip side, if you know you have sensitive skin, there are things you might want to watch out for. Parabens, some concerns about hormone function, phthalates, potential endocrine disruptors, propylene glycol that can be irritating for some, artificial colors, synthetic fragrances, those are common culprits for reactions too. And remember, even natural things can cause contact dermatitis. So it really is about finding what works for your specific skin and body chemistry. It might take some trial and error.
That's a really helpful breakdown of ingredients. Okay, so you've picked one out, you're ready to try it. How much do you actually put on? Do you really slather it on there, or is less more?
Generally, less is more. Just a few swipes, enough for a thin, even layer. If you apply too much, it can just kind of build up, feel uncomfortable, maybe even gunk up. And it might actually make it less effective because it creates a barrier, The good stuff needs to reach the skin.
Okay, thin layer. Got it. So now, the moment of truth we've all been waiting for. We've got the science, we know the difference. But do these natural deodorants actually work? Because, our sources were full of quotes from people who were, let's just say, not impressed. Things like, they're horrific, I hate them. Or, my friend tried natural, some days she just smelled. That sounds pretty familiar, I bet.
It really does capture the common struggle. And it loops back to managing your expectations. You just can't expect a natural deodorant to perform like an antiperspirant. They do fundamentally different things. If you're expecting bone-dry pits all day, you're probably going to be disappointed. They manage odor, they don't stop wetness.
Right. And for people thinking of switching from an antiperspirant, there's this pro tip in the sources about a transition period. Like you might need to give it time. And armpit detox almost sounds intense. Do people bail during this phase?
Oh, definitely. It can be discouraging, for sure. Some experts suggest you need to wait like 2 to 4 weeks before you can really judge if a natural deodorant is working for you. The theory is your body needs time to sweat out the aluminum buildup from your old antiperspirant, which might actually be interfering with the natural one at first. So yeah, a bit of patience is probably needed.
2 to 4 weeks. Okay, that's good to know. Manage those expectations, give it time. Right, let's get into the specifics then. Let's talk brands that were tested in our sources. Pros, cons, real experiences. First up, if you like things that look kind of chic, Minimalist. Salt and Stone, it's around $20. What's the verdict?
Yeah, Salt and Stone definitely got points for style. Chic, minimalist packaging. Testers love the scents. Santal and vetiver, neroli and basil got a 10 out of 10.
Huh?
It uses seaweed extracts, botanicals, felt hydrating, and the author found it lasted pretty well, like 7 or 8 hours for regular wear. Downsides, some found the stick a bit white or chalky, and crucially, after more time, the author noticed a mix of sweat and the scent. Conclusion was, probably not for intense workouts. So nice for every day, maybe not for the gym.
Interesting. Okay, good for looking good on the shelf and smelling nice for a while, but maybe not heavy duty. Next, there's one with a big cult following, apparently, and an interesting origin story. Lume. Around $15.
Right, Lume. Founded by an OBGYN, and it's marketed for whole body odor control, which is kind of unique. It definitely has fans. One reviewer said the unscented kept her odor free for at least a couple days, even through summer heat and yoga. Another called the spray version her holy grail for limiting sweat and odor, and Lume claims 72-hour control, cons mentioned, a slight initial odor for maybe 10 minutes after applying, then it fades, and putting on too much can feel greasy. The author doing a tough test found sweat smell did come through after a few hours, so that 72-hour claim might depend on your activity level.
72 hours sounds amazing, but maybe more for low-key days. Still, multi-day control is impressive. Okay, how about one known for its certification? Schmidt's, around $13.
Schmidt's has a unique selling point. It's apparently the first and only natural deodorant in the U.S. to be certified natural by EcoCert. That's a third-party validation, which means something in an unregulated space. Reviewers seem to prefer the spray format. The lavender and sage scent apparently kept one person odor-free for 2 days. People praised the scents bergamot and lime, charcoal, and magnesium. One tester even said it worked all day, even in hot yoga, which is a strong claim. Negatives. It can stain clothes if you don't let it dry properly first, and maybe not the best for really hot, humid weather if you're layered up. The author also felt they needed to reapply before going out in the evening. So effective for many, but needs careful application.
It really does sound like using natural deodorant requires a bit more technique than just swiping and going like we might be used to. You know, we've talked about a few now. Is there a pattern emerging here? What seems to be the common thread for where natural deodorants succeed and where they maybe struggle?
That's a really good observation. I think what's becoming clear is that these natural options often really nail the scent profiles. Pleasant, sophisticated, interesting. And they're generally seen as gentler, causing less irritation for many people. They work with your body's processes, but the moment you introduce intense exercise, high heat, serious stress, those times when that apocrine, smellier sweat kicks in, that seems to be where many of them start to falter in providing that bulletproof all-day odor blockage. It really drives home that point about managing expectations and maybe being prepared to reapply is just part of the deal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Reapplication seems key. Okay, speaking of different approaches, there's Solitaire, also around $13. One source called it the best multitasker. What makes it different?
Solitaire uses a 5% AHA blend alpha hydroxy acids. That's pretty cool, borrowing from skincare. The idea is the acids help balance the pH under your arms, making it harder for odor-causing bacteria to thrive. It comes in nice vacation-y scents like Pink Beach. Uses a roller ball. Some found it easy to apply and quick drying. Price is good too. The author was impressed only a faintest smell of diluted sweat after Pilates. That's a pretty good result for post-workout. On the other hand, the label says 30-60 seconds drying time, but one tester said it took more like 2-3 minutes for them, and some still noticed a tiny bit of sweat smell after exercise. So innovative, mostly effective, drying time might vary.
AHA's in deodorant. That's clever.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, almost there. Let's talk about Native. Also $13. This is the one known for most exciting scents, right? I saw things like Sweet Peach and Nectar, collabs with Girl Scout cookies, even Dunkin' Donuts. Who comes up with coffee-scented armpits?
Haha. Yeah, Native definitely wins for creativity and fun scents. That's a big draw for people. And one reviewer did say it gave her the freshest pits for the longest time compared to others she tried. But the author called her love for Native conditional. Said it was fine for working from home, but she wouldn't trust it for sweaty yoga or a hot summer day without reapplying. Several other testers agreed the scent faded fast and they could smell themselves later on. So Native seems great for scent variety and light-duty wear, but maybe not your first pick for intense activity.
Okay, conditional love for the fun scents.
Yeah.
Got it. And we have a couple of honorable mentions, too. First, a classic brand with an eco-focus. Tom's of Maine. Cheaper, around $8.
Tom's of Maine definitely has that strong, eco-friendly reputation, recycled packaging, natural ingredients, people like that. But effectiveness seems really mixed based on the reviews. Some people found it lasted all day, no problem. Others found it just didn't work well for armpit odor. The author actually found it useful for thigh chafing, interestingly, but said she still stunk when using it under her arms. So really a mixed bag on performance, but strong on values.
Huh. Good for chafing, not so much for stink. Okay. And lastly, Squatch. Around $18. Marketed for men, but sounds like women might like it too.
Yeah, Squatch has that odor squatching Mother Nature ingredients vibe, definitely targeting men.
Oh,
Unique scents, too, like grapefruit IPA, birchwood breeze. But one female reviewer tried her partners, found it easy to use, said it lasted all day, and even layered well with her perfumes. So, proof that good formulas work regardless of marketing. The main downside mentioned was leaving white marks on clothes. The suggestion was maybe match the stick color to your shirt or just let it dry really, really well.
wow. Okay. That was quite a tour through the natural deodorant aisle. We went from like microscopic bugs causing the smell to what natural even means, and then heard about real experiences with all these brands, the good, the bad, the chalky, the scented.
Exactly. And hopefully you listening now feel like you have a much better handle on things. You've got the science background, you know the difference between product types, and you have these real world reviews to guide you. It really underlines that finding the right natural deodorant is personal. It's about your body, your lifestyle, and having realistic expectations.
Absolutely. And, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Or maybe, what does this all mean beyond just deodorant? Thinking about how much body odor is tied to our unique bacteria, our body chemistry. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? This whole deep dive into something as basic as sweat and stink just shows how complex even mundane biology can be. So maybe the takeaway thought is, what other everyday things, common assumptions about our bodies or routines might have these hidden complex biological stories behind them? What else is worth a closer look? That's definitely something to think about.